The sad thing most of Kaley Cuoco's movies have in common. The sad, secret pattern in Kaley Cuoco's filmography. Kaley Cuoco, by any metric, has won the game of Hollywood. For 12 years, she was the buoyant, boy-crazy girl next door penny on the global phenomenon The Big Bang Theory, earning a fortune and a permanent place in the sitcom Hall of Fame. In its aftermath, she didn't just rest on her royalties. She engineered a stunning second act. As a producer and star of the HBO Max hit The Flight Attendant, she shattered her typecast shell, delivering a performance brimming with anxiety, darkness, and complexity that earned her Emmy and Golden Globe nominations. She is, by all accounts, a powerhouse, a savvy businesswoman with her own production company, yes, Norman Productions, and the clout to greenlight her own projects. Yet, when you survey the landscape of her feature film career, a curious and ultimately sad pattern emerges. Despite her proven range and immense power, the majority of Kaley Cuoco's movies share a common, disappointing trait. They are almost exclusively stories where her primary function is to be the romantic reward for a male protagonist. This isn't just a case of typecasting. It's a creative cage, one that she brilliantly escaped on television, only to find the movie industry still waiting to hand her the same old key. The manic pixie dream girl and her many disguises. The most glaring examples come from the early and mid-career romantic comedies that defined her film persona. Take The Penthouse 2010, a forgettable comedy where her character, the wealthy and capricious Zoe, exists primarily as the object of affection for three competing suitors. Her personality is a plot device, her quirks designed to charm the male leads rather than define a fully realized human being. This trend continues in films like Authors Anonymous 2014, where she plays a suddenly successful author, a role that on paper suggests agency. In execution, however, her character's arc is heavily entangled with a lukewarm romantic subplot that undermines her professional journey. Similarly, in Burning Bodhi 2015, she is the shimmering, unattainable memory from high school who catalyzes the emotional journeys of the male characters reuniting after a friend's death. She is the symbol, not the subject. Even when the genre shifts, the function remains. In the faith-based film The Man from Toronto, initially filmed with Cuoco before being reshot with Kaley's Big Bang co-star, Kaley Penn, her role was that of the exasperated but ultimately supportive wife. Her narrative orbit firmly around her husband's chaotic life. The 2023 Netflix film Role Play is perhaps the most poignant example because it so nearly breaks the pattern. Cuoco plays Emma, a suburban wife and mother who is secretly a legendary international assassin. It's a high-concept premise that promises a female-led action thriller in the vein of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yet, the film quickly pivots from Emma's thrilling secret life to focus on the reaction of her husband, David Oyelowo. The plot becomes less about her missions and skills, and more about mending their marriage and protecting the family unit. The potential for Cuoco to be a ruthless, independent force is subsumed by her role as a wife and mother seeking forgiveness. Her agency is, once again, filtered through her relationship to a man. The television exception, where agency takes flight. This makes her television work, particularly The Flight Attendant, all the more remarkable. As Cassie Bowden, Cuoco is the undeniable sun at the center of the solar system. The men in her life, from Mitchell Hussman's ill-fated Alex to Griffin Dunn's shady Buckley, are satellites orbiting her chaos. They are plot devices in her story, catalysts for her self-destruction, and, ultimately, her recovery. The show is unapologetically about Cassie's fractured mental state, her addiction, and her journey toward sobriety and self-awareness. The critical and commercial success of this show proved, unequivocally, that audiences were hungry to see Kaley Cuoco as a complex, flawed, and driving force. She wasn't just the prize. She was the entire game. This was further cemented by her voice role as Harley Quinn in the animated series of the same name. Her Harley is a profane, chaotic, and fiercely independent anti-hero, breaking free from the Joker's shadow to build her own legacy, her own crew, and her own moral code. It's a performance of breathtaking energy and creativity, the polar opposite of the passive love interests in her films. So why does this disconnect exist? Why can Kaley Cuoco, the producer, champion such nuanced roles on the small screen, while Kaley Cuoco, the movie star, seems stuck in a time warp? The risk-averse machinery of Hollywood. The answer lies in the fundamental difference between the television and film industries in the modern era. Television, especially in the streaming age, has become a haven for auteur-driven, character-focused stories. It's a medium that rewards complexity and allows an audience to sit with a flawed character over multiple episodes. The Flight Attendant and Harley Quinn are products of this system, projects Cuoco could shepherd and control through her production company. Theatrical film, particularly in the mid-budget range that Cuoco's live-action movies occupy, is a far more risk-averse landscape. These films, especially comedies and rom-coms, often rely on established, easily marketable formulas. The template of a hapless man being redeemed by the love of a good and invariably beautiful, quirky woman is a familiar one. It's a safe bet for studios, and for years, the penny persona was the easiest thing to sell. There's an undeniable, if sad, logic to it. A studio head looks at Cuoco and sees the beloved star of the world's biggest sitcom. They see a woman who radiates a specific, approachable kind of warmth. The path of least resistance is to slot her into the romantic lead box, a role that requires her to be charming, supportive, and aesthetically pleasing, but rarely challenging or difficult. It's a pre-sold concept. You loved her as Penny? You'll love her as this new, slightly different version of Penny. A crossroads of creative control. This is what makes the pattern so set. It's not a reflection of Cuoco's abilities, which she has demonstrably proven are vast. It's a reflection of an industry that, even in the face of overwhelming evidence, is slow to update its operating system. It suggests that for an actress, even one with immense power, breaking free of deeply ingrained archetypes is a battle that must be fought project by project. The hope for Cuoco's film future lies in the very model she has used to conquer television. The success of The Flight Attendant wasn't just an acting victory, it was a producer's victory. She has the blueprint. The next step is to apply that same producer-led, character-first mentality to her film choices. She must become the architect of her own cinematic roles, greenlighting scripts where the female lead's journey is about something more than winning or keeping a man. Kaley Cuoco has already shown us she can fly. The sad part is that so many of her movies still ask her to sit patiently in the passenger seat, waiting for a man to take the controls. Given her talent, her drive, and her proven eye for a great story, the truest creative success of her film career will be the day she consistently and permanently claims the pilot's chair for herself.